Jarilene Stux was born in a poor family with 15 siblings in the village of Espantagado in Bahia. It was a time that to have hope was the only way to survive, and to move to São Paulo was the only way to have a new destiny for her life.
In the beginning, I went to live with my brothers, so I had to choose or I would study or I would work. So I start working, I start cleaning people's house, I start ironing to be able to help them to pay the rent. So I lived with one and then I lived with somebody else. I lived with three, four kind of different people. I had to maintain myself to have the basic. I had a dream when I came here to conquer, to and then go back to Bahia, but when I got here, it wasn't like that. I got married. Okay, now everything gonna change. So I got pregnant, and my mother-in-law, she helped us. She said, "You can live for 7 years in my house, but after that, you have to start paying." Because after 7 years, so it was good enough. So this inside of me, that dream died. So I married, and everything kept the same. Nothing changed. I was very Catholic. I really used to go to the church. I was really a Catholic. But I was still empty. I really believed in images, but I did not really believe in God. I had faith on the images. I would seek, but there was no change. So I had an invitation from a neighbor of mine. She would always invite me. Every time when she would see me, she would invite me to go to the church. And I would say to the Universal Church, no. When I arrived at the church, wasn't a campaign of Israel. I remember the first time I arrived wasn't a campaign of Israel. I did not really understand, but the pastor was preaching with a revolt that my life was going to change, that if I would believe on what he was preaching, my life was going to change. So I thought, I don't walk, but I'm going to do something, I'm going to sacrifice. So I got revolted for the life that I was living because it was always what I wanted, but was just inside of me. So there, watching the meeting, woke me up that my life could change. So I started walking, decorating flip-flops. I got only £1 to every pair of shoes that I was decorating. I would wake up very early in the morning and I would do it my best. I was really doing because I wanted to do something to God. I wanted to give something to Him, not just an offering. I wanted to do a sacrifice. I wanted to give my all to God, to give my best to God. I could have asked for some money to my house, but I could have economized some money, but I wanted really to sacrifice. So when I went up crying, "Hear God," when I went down, was everything different. I was so sure that God was going to answer me. I had no idea how He was going to do it, but I knew that everything was going to change because when I went down, I was already different. There was a peace inside of me, a certainty that everything was going to just to go forward. I couldn't explain, but I knew that it was going to change. I asked God direction and He gave me, so I used to live with my mother-in-law, so we conquered our house. Was one of our first conquering that we got from the altar, a house of ours. God gave me a vision that I start with a very, very small business. I was selling perfumes, and later God gave me another idea. I didn't have the money, but I had faith. So I conquered the first store and then the second store. And then I was selling jewelry, but God gave me another vision to work with something else. And then God gave me the direction to have a supermarket. God was giving me directions and giving me other directions. So my marriage was restored. I have a happy family. I have two children. So now my son can go to a private school. I never thought that I could do that. I have apartments. I have a farm, a house that we go only in the weekends to relax. And besides that, many trips to go to Disney that it's many people's dreams. I went to Germany, I went to the Czech Republic, so many countries, so many places, all with my family. Nothing that I could do before, and now I can do with my family. I can give the best to my family. And in the last campaign of Israel, God gave me a chance to have another supermarket. So, for whom that had no condition of nothing, today I can give the best to my kids. So, in the middle of this pandemic that it's happening in Brazil, to me, on contrarian, I'm going forward because I'm faithful to God. So He's honoring me. Just 13 days before of what is happening now, I just conquered my second supermarket, and it's growing more and more. During the campaign of Israel, it works. It does. Every time that I go to the altar, God answers me. The altar is not in depth with nobody. I have no difficulty. What God asks me, I do it. I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm going to the altar, it's gonna go wrong. It's not gonna go wrong